really makes the fight.
Right, absolutely.
How them guys fight that night. You know, both of us know that both of the fighters are great fighters. So, you know, it's just who can
Terence Crawford has now brought in former undisputed heavyweight champion to join his preparation for the Canelo Alvarez showdown. Just when many thought training at legendary gym was already a major statement, this latest move makes one thing clear: Crawford isn't playing games. He's taking every word, every threat from Canelo as seriously as possible. When a legend like Terence Crawford in the gloves come off not for sparring, but for learning, Crawford didn't waste the moment, intently soaking up wisdom from one of the greatest to ever do it. At one point, he stepped up to show some sharp shadow boxing and pad work, while Holyfield observed closely. This isn't just another big fight for Crawford, it's personal, it's legacy defining, and he's treating it like the most important moment of his career. Crawford knows exactly what it means to be undisputed in multiple weight classes, having achieved that rare feat at both cruiserweight and heavyweight. That alone makes his recent meeting with Terence Crawford even more meaningful. As someone who's been to the top in more than one, Terence Crawford a unique perspective to the table, speaking to share his honest take on the upcoming Crawford clash. While he acknowledged Crawford's skill, he expressed some doubts about the weight jump. It's going to be hard to beat real basic, but he's a good fighter. Still, Crawford does have the tools to pull it off if anyone can rise to the occasion. It's him. Canelo Alvarez is undoubtedly a powerful and skilled fighter, but he's not without his vulnerabilities. One of the key concerns Terence Crawford
get the guy before you get guy. So, you know, that's the part of the game of boxing. It's about how you going to proceed to take it from him, but finding a way how to take it from him. You know, if you just as strong as me, and you just as fast as me, I know I just can't run up there in the counterweight. So can't nobody run up from me back in the counterweight. So they gonna get it. Absolutely. So, you know, this gonna be a technical fight for them. Both of these guys should find out what
Crazy like that before. He just say he doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to do it.
You posted the other day, there's a picture of you in a Rolls Royce, and you said, the quote is, "I can't remember how many of these I gave away." Tell me about that.
Yes, I don't know. Yes, when we used to have the money, it's
Crawford tendency to fade in fights that go the distance. Reference this, pointing to Canelo's bout with as a clear example where fatigue in the later rounds led to a drop in both precision and punching power. This dip in energy, Terence Crawford can be a major opportunity for opponents who manage to weather the early storm and apply pressure in the championship rounds. Another area of concern is Canelo's defense. While solid overall, his defensive discipline can slip at times, especially when he becomes overly aggressive or loses focus.
I said Crawford too. I mean, it's really a pick'em fight. I guess
These lapses can leave him open to counter something a sharp and patient fighter like Terence Crawford could potentially exploit. Terence Crawford, that while Canelo Alvarez is one of boxing's most seasoned and dangerous fighters, there are still noticeable gaps in his game that could be exploited, especially by someone as sharp and calculated as Terence Crawford. One of the key weaknesses Holyfield pointed out.
Now you keeping your eye on like a Crawford or anybody like that?
I just came from Crawford last fight.
In LA?
Yeah.
You went to it, what'd you think?
I thought that was a tough guy, and that guy gave, you know what I mean? I'm glad that he came back the last 2 rounds. You know, the guy was very awkward and strong.
Super awkward.
Yeah, and this guy fights anybody. Crawford fights anybody. I don't agree with that, you know, because you got to look good in order for...
Doubt is Canelo's inconsistency on defense. While Canelo can be slick and hard to hit at times, he has shown lapses in concentration, particularly when he becomes overly aggressive against an elite counterpuncher like Crawford. Those brief defensive openings can be costly. Crawford has a sharp eye for timing and placement.
The next fight, because if you fight this guy, he don't look good, the fans, I don't want him, he's not going to look good and win with this guy. You got to constantly have fights that you know and fight a guy that's going to make you look good. The guy got to pressure you or something. You know, this guy's running around. Crawford's not used to this kind of movement and
Weird
stuff.
fit.
Yeah, awkward as a motherfucker.
Are you ready? You think the world's ready?
And he thrives on capitalizing when his opponents make even the smallest mistakes. Another vulnerability Holyfield highlighted is Canelo's struggle against fighters who rely on footwork and lateral movement. Fighters who don't stay in one place and force Canelo to reset have historically given him trouble. Holyfield pointed the bouts with Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant as a
fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, but this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. He should have fought a guy that would just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
examples. Where Canelo looked uncomfortable at times, both fighters used mobility and angles to frustrate him early, making it harder for him to set his feet and deliver power punches. Canelo's own style leans toward pressure and controlled aggression. He prefers to walk opponents down, cut off the ring.
Canelo did what he had to do to get the victory.
What do you want next? It seems like that's going to be the fight. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, the biggest fight in boxing.
Well, Canelo's the face of boxing. He's the best fighter for Terence Crawford out there. He's the biggest fight for Terence Crawford out there. So that's why Terence Crawford want to take the opportunity to share a ring with another brother.
And break them down with body shots and sharp combinations. But when faced with a fighter who doesn't stay still, who keeps changing directions and controls the distance, that approach becomes less effective. Against mobile opponents, Canelo has shown moments where he's flat-footed and a step behind, which could be a serious issue against someone like Crawford who combines speed, footwork.
Along my career, I've been criticized and people have taken credit away from me just to try to diminish my accomplishments just off of pure hate. So what would they be able to say with me going up 2 weight classes?
Work and timing at an elite level, Holyfield's breakdown paints a realistic picture, while Canelo remains a dangerous and technically sound fighter. The stylistic puzzle Crawford presents could expose the Mexican star's limitations. Crawford's ability to adapt, move.
Canelo become undisputed again, and I beat Canelo. What could they say? They'll say something, but what
they're gonna find something. You know that.
But what can they really say?
Right.
You know. So that's the legacy fight right there for me. I'm not looking at
move and strike with precision could turn those brief lapses in defense and footwork into fight-defining moments. And if Canelo begins to tire in the later rounds, as both Holyfield and Mike Tyson,
the others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a
and have suggested Crawford could take over down the stretch and potentially outpoint or even stop him.
People say, oh, well, he's money hungry, he's looking at money and he's trying to cash out and this and that. I've been getting money for years. I've been getting business for years.
Yeah.
And I'm not stupid with my money.
Right.
As you can see, I don't buy no Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and you know what I mean, walk around with 100 people around me and I got all this jewelry that I done bought. Like, I don't.
Terence Crawford has now brought in former undisputed heavyweight champion to join his preparation for the Canelo Alvarez Showdown just when many thought training at legendary
components that make a legend. it's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo has, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out.
Gym was already a major statement. This latest move makes one. Think clear. Crawford isn't playing games. He's taking every word, every threat from Canelo.